Let me sit down. All right. Hello, everybody.
Today's video is about this book, Waterdeep Dragon Heist.
Waterdeep Dragon Heist.
This is a published module for 5th edition. It runs from levels 1 through 5, although could conceivably go a little higher level if you want to. And it's we actually just all three of us played through it. Fairly, I guess a while ago now, but. We thought it would be fun to do a video just about describing our experiences, both DMing and playing it. I DM'd the game, and you guys both played in it.
Yes, we did. And I enjoyed it.
It was a super fun campaign. That's where I introduced Broniak the Smirts. Yeah, and it was just a really good game. I liked it because you get to really just explore one town instead of jumping around the entire world where somebody just makes up like, oh, here's a potion shop here and an armory and whatever else you need. Like, no, you are in Waterdeep and you get to really explore that city and all its nooks and crannies really in depth, which is a lot different than most campaigns.
So before we get into this whole review, I should point out, like, when I play D&D, the most exciting part is the character development and like all the interactions in town with like the characters between each other and like how my character evolves. So like the battles are there, but not something that like I tend to focus on as a player, which is I think that's I think it's important to know what everyone finds sort of like the most attractive part of D&D before discussing a campaign, because it also gives you an idea of like whether or not you'll like the campaign. So like, Rusty, what would you say your favorite part of campaigning is?
It's hard to say. I enjoy the battles a lot because when you create a character, you tend to really, at least when I first started getting into D&D, I always really liked thinking about like, I'm gonna do all these really cool things in battle and all this other stuff and blah blah blah. As I've played more, I'm starting to enjoy the rest of the role-playing aspects more and like dealing with townsfolk and other NPCs and just kind of trolling the rest of the party.
I can confirm the trolling.
Especially in battle as well, but like I've always played like, either barbarians or fighters, so somebody that just goes in and tanks a lot of hits, and like that is when they're in their element. Like they're axe in hand, swinging, covered in blood. That was how my characters lived life, and that I think is what they love to do in Waterdeep. So they'd always find something to fight, even if it was a door.
Literally a door.
Wow, you beat that door.
That door is toasters.
Won.
Several doors, actually.
Unfortunately, they were in a house. I mean, it's your house.
Okay, Matt, what's your favorite? What would you say the best part about D&D is for you?
Oh, I'd say probably the character. Like, I really love being able to get really into a character's head and, tell jokes and do cool stuff in battle, and developing a certain rapport with other players, like with our characters. That's really fun for me. For me, it's the new character. Like when I'm sitting down and like have a new character, and I'm like, oh, I'm really excited to explore certain things about this character or play them, in a certain way. But honestly, I also just really love DMing. It's so creative and fun and like a really great way to be creative and just have fun with friends. I would say I pretty much love all of D&D. I don't think there's a part I really dislike.
So who wants to give like a summary of what happened in the campaign, like a high level summary? So okay, from here on out, warning, there are spoilers for Dragon Heist. So if you haven't played or are concerned or don't want anything spoiled or about to play it, don't listen.
But also maybe
listen. We'll try to we're not going to go into like, this is the stats of the final boss, but general story points will be discussed, so.
You'll know who the final boss is.
Theoretically, I mean...
True.
I think in Waterdeep there's like 4 different scenarios that can play out, and it changes based on what season the campaign takes place in. Is that right?
Yes. So, in Waterdeep Dragon Heist, there are 4 villains, which is a bit different from most other campaigns, which usually you just have the one. But the DM picks what season the game takes place in, and depending on what season it takes place, you get a different villain. If it takes place in spring... and actually, all villains are on the cover. If you can see them here, sort of, maybe.
Here, I can.
So you've got Xanathar, Beholder crime lord, leader of the Xanathar Guild. And you've got Manchun. Xanathar's in the spring. If you play in the winter, you get Manchun, leader of the Zentarum, or one faction of the Zentarum. If you play in the autumn, you get Jarlaxle Bainray, head of Bragenderth. And if you play in the summer, you get Victoro and Amazlia Castleantern, who are two nobles in Waterdeep who are involved with some demon summoning. And yeah, Waterdeep Dragon Heist. The basic plot is 500,000 gold dragons, which are what they call gold coins in Waterdeep, have gone missing. And it's basically a treasure hunt to find it. And the villains, the various different factions are all looking for this treasure as well. And your characters are trying to defeat these villains and get to the treasure before the villains do. Typically, now if you run it just in as it is in the book, I think you'll have a really good time. It's fairly short, which is kind of interesting. Only levels 1 to 5. Oftentimes modules run a lot longer, but like we finished this one in like 6 to 7 months.
Yeah, I was playing bi-weekly.
Yeah, it wasn't super long.
A couple hours every other week.
Yeah, and it actually took longer than it would have otherwise because I decided to use all 4 villains. What I basically did was all of these villains made an appearance, and they were all gunning for the treasure. And each villain had a pre-existing, or not throughout the campaign, developed some degree of like a working relationship, or in some cases like a friendship of some kind with one of the PCs. So as the PCs were hunting for the treasure, they were also a little bit conflicted by their job or friendship or whatever they had with one of these villains. Do you guys want to maybe talk about your character's relationship with their villain?
Nerdy, why don't you start us off?
Okay, so my villain, Mayim, if you don't remember, if you haven't seen, there's another video, which I will put somewhere on the screen here that you can go watch, where I briefly touched on Mayim. But Mayim was a hardcore bard pacifist and didn't want to fight anything. She had an experience that had changed her world, and she no longer thought that any sort of fighting or harm was good to anything or anyone ever. She boss, if you will, was the Xanathar, but she of course didn't get that the Xanathar was a bad guy or wanted to harm her, or that she should be afraid. So she instead went to meditate. She went to teach the Xanathar how to meditate. Bought a giant proper yoga mat for the Xanathar. Brought it. Yep. Spent her money on buying a mat, even though he was floating. Brought it to the room. The goldfish, she could speak with animals, and the goldfish was like, "Get me out of here! Help! Help! Help!" And she was just like, "No, he's so sweet."
Yes, the Xanathar, the one thing he loved was his pet goldfish Silgar, which is relevant to the tale of Mayim and Xanathar.
Is relevant to the tale, but for the most part, that was Mayim did not. Xanathar would keep making comments about annihilating everyone and giving Mayim comments like, "Okay, go out and kill such and such," and Mayim, in her infinite naivety, would be like, "Oh, you mean help?" She didn't do it.
At one point, the Xanathar, I believe, did a mob hit on you guys. Actually, I think he did that twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was an interesting dude.
Yeah. Yep. So that was Mayim's boss, or big bad battle.
And Mayim won that battle.
And Mayim did. Mayim ended up... Xanathar pushed Mayim too far, and Mayim broke. But that's another story for another day.
So, Broniak, if you haven't watched episode 1, go watch episode 1 to learn a bit about Broniak's backstory. Long and the short of it was, he was a barbarian Goliath that left his clan because he was too smart for everyone else. He also happened to be rather young, so he was very much fueled by... So, he finds himself down in Waterdeep. He walks into the Yawning Portal, where he lays eyes on this half-orc named Yagra, who he challenges to arm wrestling. He immediately rolls a 19 or a nat 20 against her, so he wins. He's super happy. Like, then a couple of Xanathar henchmen come in to try to rough Yagra up, and he's riding high on just winning. He thinks she's the hottest thing ever. So he engages these two Xanathar guys in battle, finds out she works for the Zentarum, decides that his goal now is to join the Zentarum, because he has to protect his girlfriend, who's decided that they're now in this relationship. So everything he does is just to impress Yagra throughout the campaign. He keeps taking on missions for the Zentarum so he can get closer to her, wants to know her, working his way up. He keeps doing really well on the charisma rolls. So things just keep progressing for him.
Oh yeah, Yagra was into Broniac, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. If you've seen episode 2 about love clerics, or the episode about love clerics, this was definitely a consensual. Both parties were interested in the campaign.
Yeah. So Brian just kept winning her over, and the more he got closer to her, the more he felt that the Zentarum were his family, and that he needed to do things. And as the strongest and smartest member of his party, he decided that what was best for the party was that they were all associated with the Zentarum, because that's what he was, and he was clan leader. So they would go around, so he's getting people like the Zentarum to nail up a Zentarum sign on the door of their house / bar. And
that was also related to the Xanathar doing like several mob hits on the party. Because the Xanathar and the Zentarum did not get along. In fact, they really hated each other.
And of course Mayim had no concept when any of this was happening that she was supposedly working for the Xanathar, because she's like, what? We meditate together.
And Broniac's villain was Manchun, the leader of the Zentarum. And the other two, now this was interesting. We had a pretty large party for this campaign. There were two other villains that were technically three, but like the Castellanters are sort of a package deal. Our party Warlock was working with the Castleanters. He borrowed some money from them, and they wanted him to kill a bunch of people or collect a bunch of people so that they could kill them in a demonic sacrifice to Asmodeus. Our monk was involved with Jarlaxle because the monk was super anti-slavery and had been informed that Jarlaxle was also working to liberate those in Waterdeep who were enslaved, in some capacity. Now Jarlaxle was lying about that. Monk eventually figured that out. But yes, there were also two other players who, unfortunately, with there only being 4 villains, they sort of didn't get their own villain. Like, they still had stuff to do, but they didn't. Unfortunately, just the numbers didn't quite add up in terms of number of villains. But actually, the way that the module ends is, at least as written, is kind of interesting. If the villain ends up with the gold, like whichever villain you go with, we went with all of them, then if the villain gets off the gold, they go back to their lair, and then you go into their lair and retrieve the gold. And the villains are actually quite powerful, so you won't typically you weren't supposed to kill the villain. The reason you guys did was because I changed it so that as you were leaving with the gold, all the villains showed up at once, and then the villains attacked the party, but they also started attacking each other because they all hated each other. So I remember Xanathar disintegrated Lady Castleantern, and eventually the party won and nobody died, which was really impressive considering that was a really hard fight. There was Xanathar is a beholder. Manchun is a really powerful wizard. Has a 9th level spell slot. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Incidentally, if one of the villains had gotten away with the gold, they would have still taken it back to their lair, and we would have had a few more sessions of you guys investigating.
So Matt, was it fun as a DM to run?
Absolutely. I feel like Waterdeep Dragon Heist is a really good middle ground between a big year-long campaign and a 2 or 3 session little mini thing. You could probably finish this thing in 10 sessions or so. We did 13 sessions. But it's really enjoyable. There's a lot of content in here, even though it is only levels 1 through 5. There are a lot of options for each character. One thing that's quite interesting, and you guys spoke to this a bit, is they do a really good job of providing you with a lot of things to do in Waterdeep. Like, one of the first things that happens is your characters end up owning a tavern, and there's a ghost in the tavern named Lif, and there are different. You can like basically like do like an exorcism to get rid of him, or you could befriend him, and you guys did befriend him, and it's and that was really fun. But there's also like neighbors who your characters can make friends with. Some of that. There was
the neighbor.
There's
That's
the angry
right.
neighbor who you guys didn't like.
But
I
Mayim likes everyone.
I think you guys eventually ran him out of town, didn't you?
No, he came back and asked to bury the hatchet.
Yes.
But Broniak was already leading the Xanathar and said, "Yeah, we'll bury the hatchet. Why don't my associates take you back to the office and hash things out?"
Yes, that's right. He temporarily left
Took
town.
care of him.
And came back and you killed him. Yes, that's right. As it goes sometimes.
Mayim did not know that was happening, or Mayim would not have been okay with that.
Care of him.
Yes.
I note that, oh yes, just on a completely slightly different topic, I note that you have your sweater on that is for the DM.
Yeah. Oh,
Here, let's do it. Let's do a fashion show.
Oh god. Yes.
Right.
Can you read it?
Wait. Okay. You gotta bend down. But no, you gotta bend your knees. There you go. And then this way. Nope, this way. There you go. Wait, down. More bent knees. All right. Yeah. This part says the Weaver of Lore and Fate, in case it's hard to see on the thing. All right. Very good. Yeah. We've shown everybody. Yeah. Okay, let's get back to Dungeons and Dragon Heist. Great intermission.
Yes. Waterdeep Dragon Heist is I would absolutely recommend it. I think I've run and or played in a lot of different modules for 5th edition, and Waterdeep Dragon Heist is one of the best. I mean, our group was fantastic, which really helps. But yeah, it's they do such a good job. Like, for example, there's like an entire chapter that just summarizes Waterdeep. There's another chapter, chapter 2, that basically gives your characters a bunch of downtime where they can like explore Waterdeep and get involved with different factions, and when in particular when we did that, we focused. I borrowed a lot from the downtime rules from Xanathar's Guide to Everything. So you guys could do like pit fighting, and you could like try to commit crimes, and you guys could. What else did you get up to? You could like make contacts. It was really fun. There were a lot of different. You could like learn a new skill. There was a lot of opportunities for downtime in this campaign as you just sort of Waterdeep.
Yeah, I really felt like I got to develop the character. So like for me, this was a really great campaign. I really felt like I got to like explore my character in ways that I haven't been able to in other campaigns that are more like battle focused, for example, like, which is fine, but that isn't like, so there's battles here, don't get me wrong, like I don't want it to come off as there's no fighting, but if you also want to actually feel like you're in the world, this is a really great campaign from my perspective.
Interesting thing about this campaign, so there's Waterdeep Dragon Heist, fun little book, levels 1 to 5. But there's also another adventure that sort of serves as a sequel to this, Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage, which takes you from levels 5 to 20. And in Waterdeep Dragon Heist, there occasionally is referenced the Yawning Portal, or technically you start in it, and you can go back a few times. But there's a massive underground dungeon beneath the Yawning Portal, this tavern, and that's where Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage takes place. So the idea is, once you finish Dragon Heist, you can do Dungeon of the Mad Mage. We considered doing this, but I feel like Dungeon of the Mad Mage, I haven't run it or played it, but it's looking through it. I was considering running it once we finished Dragon Heist, but I feel like it's very different in tone from Dragon Heist. Waterdeep Dragon Heist there's a lot of focus on roleplay and socialization, and building your reputation in Waterdeep and getting involved with different factions in Waterdeep, and most of that is irrelevant in Dungeon of the Mad Mage. It's basically a massive dungeon crawl, which is perfectly fine. It's very different, and so a character that would fit in really well in Waterdeep Dragon Heist, like your character, probably would have struggled more in Dungeon of the Mad Mage.
Fair.
I also think the Warlock the noble archfey warlock, that one. I don't think he was like, he played up like his character was like really heavily focused on like, you know, being a part of the nobility, which was really relevant in Dragon Heist and would never come up in Dungeon of the Mad Mage, like ever. Yeah, like that doesn't say the Dungeon of the Mad Mage is bad. I haven't run it, but it seems perfectly good. But I don't think it would work well as like a sequel. But yeah, Waterdeep Dragon Heist would absolutely recommend playing. And yeah, it was also the first game that we did virtually. Used Roll20 for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we should do a review of Guys, if you want Roll20, the website, if you want to see a review of Roll20, let me know in the comments below. It's an interesting website to use for digital tabletop.
I think we'd have a lot to say.
We'd have a lot to say as players and as DMs. I think there's a ton to say. So yeah, hit that like button. Comment down below so we know. Anything else? Any other comments before we? Yeah,
I really enjoyed Waterdeep. If you haven't played it and you're looking to sort of get your feet wet into D&D, I think it would be actually an excellent first adventure for someone looking to start D&D, because it's got sort of a really nice blend of battle and role-playing. It's a good length of campaign, so you can really get sort of the full experience, if you will. I think it's really, really cool. It might be, and Matt can probably speak better to this, it might be a bit much for a first-time DM, because I think there's a lot going on. But in terms of if you're a player and you're trying to get in for the first time, I think it would be a really great starting point.
Yeah, it might be a bit much for a beginner DM, maybe. I feel like there definitely are times in Dragon Heist where it does get a little complicated. In particular, the item that you need to find to determine where the treasure is, the Stone of Galore. There's like a chapter where basically you're trying to find the stone, and the stone is constantly moving, and you have a bunch of different opportunities to get the stone, but like other people are trying to get the stone, and you know, if you don't get it like in the theater, you might get it like down by the docks, and if you don't get it down by the docks, you know, you might get it in like the old watchtower. That chapter in particular is probably a little complicated. Also, there are a lot of different factions in Waterdeep, so that might be a little much for a first-time DM. But it's a really great little campaign. Very much enjoyed running it.
Yeah. I'll give it a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
All right, 3 thumbs up, guys. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to like.
5 likes to make Nerdy run a campaign for us.
25 likes. 25. 5. Wait, I think I have to do it this way. I don't know. I don't. So thank you everybody. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what your favorite campaign is. Thanks for coming. Bye.